What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Lisa Raye has a lot to say about dating and relationships in the black world, especially since she has so many failed relationships. She's over on Fox Soul with Vivica A. Fox and Selena Johnson and, the others over there. And again, they're spewing, in my honest opinion, a lot of nonsense on most topics to talk about. Maybe every now and then they'll get something right, but they typically are an enemy to their own message, because Lisa Raye is trending for all the wrong reasons. Again, it's never based on anything that she does in the industry, because she's a pretty good actress. So now she's just saying anything and doing anything, obviously to get some sort of attention. Now, Lisa Raye has been having some single problems. First, she was married to Mr. Michael Mizik. Okay. She's married to that guy. She was married to another guy even before that. Then she had a baby by Tony Martin, who played for the Chargers, wide receiver. So she's had failed relationship after failed relationship. But now she's with this guy called King Yahweh. Now, I don't know who the guy is, but I want to play an excerpt of his supposedly sermon. He seems to be somewhat of a religious leader. And that's them there, hanging out and things like that. So I will play this, and then we're going to come back.
Praise Yahweh for the third day. We all on the third day. Put your hands up for the third day. Feeling all this love on the third day. With Yahweh, been Yahweh, been Yahweh, been Yahweh.
Down to the star and everything's about you. Everything that you are. Now you know why I love you so much, because we are one. Take time out to read about yourself, because if everything in here is about me, that means everything in this book is about you. What did I tell you? Everything down to my height, complexion, down to my bird hairs, you name it, is in here. Guess what? Open this book. Everything about you is in here.
So this guy seems to be somewhat of a clout chaser. He's been trying to get his views up on social media. He takes pictures with a lot of important people. But this Yahweh is very familiar in stature in what he tries to look like. He looks like the second coming of the infamous Yahweh ben Yahweh. If you guys don't remember Yahweh ben Yahweh, let's look at this news clip and let's come back.
For 10 years, this Liberty City building has been the home of the Yahwehs. Its leader, Yahweh ben Yahweh, the self-proclaimed Son of God, has thrown down the gauntlet in the past year to federal authorities and the media.
Either come forth with an indictment now or quit printing the garbage.
The indictment has been returned. But who is Yahweh ben Yahweh? And how did he come to amass real estate holdings in the hundreds of thousands of dollars? Yahweh ben Yahweh was born Hulam Mitchell Jr. and grew up in Oklahoma. A one-time member of the Nation of Islam, Yahweh's group claimed they were the true Jews. For years, they remained clouded in mystery. Audio tapes of the group's meetings were obtained by Eyewitness News and aired in a series of reports in 1986.
Hey, Yahweh, 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 Yahweh.
Publicly, Yahwehs were noticed in their white robes. They carried canes. And privately, residents and police investigators were hearing horror stories about the Yahwehs.
And they shot him. They shot him. I remember maybe 2 shots ringing out, and I screamed.
Mildred Banks
And
knows
thinking,
about
oh my
violence.
God, it's not like
Today,
a
some
movie.
9 years
Jump
after
out
she
of a
was
window.
shot, she still carries a bullet in her side. One day, in 1981, her North Dade home became a house of death. Banks and her husband, Carlton Carey, had just returned from talking with police about another Yahweh member who had been decapitated. But when they entered the home, they knew something was wrong. In 1986, she spoke with Eyewitness News.
I remember coming to and seeing them drag Michelle out. And I remember saying to myself, they're going to cut his head off. And I remember saying to myself, I got to get help. But the phones were down.
Today, Yahweh Ben Yahweh is charged in her attempted murder and the death of her husband. October 1986, Yahweh's take over an Opelika apartment building. Two residents who were ordered to leave publicly complained. That night, both were shot to death. Authorities began to look at the Yahweh organization. But Yahweh Ben Yahweh, the former recluse, went public. He opened the doors to his temple, showed reporters his school. He became involved in various chambers of commerce, bought up numerous hotels, cleaned up dilapidated apartment buildings. He opened restaurants and stores, becoming a part of Miami's business community, even rubbing shoulders with elected officials at grand openings.
This is not a campaign fix. Hold on, someday, you never know.
Today, Yahweh Ben Yahweh is a defendant, but for months he lashed out at those who spoke out.
And they've been investigating for several years, and that's all they can find. So they're on a fishing expedition.
But tonight, Yahweh Ben Yahweh is behind bars. Mel Taylor, Channel 10, Eyewitness News.
Now, for those of you who remember Yahweh Ben Yahweh, he was a religious leader in Miami, okay? And he was looked at as a cult leader, committing many crimes, black separatist founder, which is the same sort of message that's what I can hear from this guy. He seems like another wanting to be Yahweh Ben Yahweh. So he wants to be somewhat of a cult leader or follower. I don't know if that's actually the truth. So I would say allegedly, but he seems very similar to what I see of this subsection of black Hebrew Israelites, which, as you can see, they were quite violent. Now, I'm not saying that this guy is quite violent at all. I don't think that's the case, but it's crazy what Lisa Raye will get involved with. And you can see that this guy has a lot of red flags. He just doesn't feel right. He feels like he's corrupt. I'm not saying that he is, and I can't prove it, but he just seems like another one of those religious scam artists, which he possibly could be. And after all of these years of having failed relationships, Lisa Raye is here, allegedly dating this guy. And if she is dating this guy, what was the use of getting into Hollywood? What was the use of having a career? What was the use of doing any of the things that you're so bragging about doing? When now here's where you're at. At your age, you're getting with a guy who resembles one of the most infamous cult leaders of all time, who got convicted of I don't know how many murders. And like, you're out here, this is what you're doing. He even calls her the Queen Mother. So you want to be special so bad that no normal person or guy, you know, like I said, that you desire will touch you. So you've ran the guys off, so now you're dealing with this. That's what it looks like. I'm not saying that's the truth, right? But it does look like that, because in her prime, you would never catch Lisa Raye with a guy like this. Number one, she's still very exceptionally beautiful, in my honest opinion. And again, I don't know if this is a whole true story or, you know, but he refers to her on his YouTube page as the Queen Mother. So now, why is she dealing with a guy like this when in the past she would never touch a guy like this? You would never even see her dealing with somebody like this. It wouldn't even make any sense. Lisa Raye in the 90s was exceptionally beautiful, still is, but exceptionally sought after. She could never give a guy like this time of day. So my question is, how did that happen? And the only thing I can think of is when you don't have good options. When you don't have good options, and a lot of the men that you want don't want to deal with you, you just take what you can take. And I believe this is what's happening with not only her, but people like Amber Rose. So many people are going through that route. And it's like, what is the whole entire point? You know? And again, like a lot of women got to understand, as you get older, because age brings about a change, you need to have certain skills to stay pulling the same sorts of guys. You know, I see so many ladies that's in today's world talking like, you know, I'm just getting the bag. I'm not worried about no relationship and no marriage. And then and later on in life, you're like Jim Jones' mom dating somebody in prison at 63, or dating a guy who resembles something of an infamous serial killer. I'm not saying that he is that at all. I'm just saying he definitely resembles this other guy, Yahweh ben Yahweh. And something about this guy, in my opinion, doesn't sit so right with me. Again, I don't know the guy. He could be perfect. He could be the next coming of Christ. I doubt it, but he has very similar. He's just very similar to this other guy, who is Yahweh ben Yahweh. He looks, he dresses, he acts and preaches the same sort of message, and definitely seems like he wants to be like that guy. Which, if I see somebody that's even imitating somebody like that, it's a bad, complete look. And again, he might be a great brother. I don't know. But it seems like for her, that's the best she can do right now. And I can tell you why. It's not even about the look, it's the attitude. You see, a lot of ladies here in the world today, their attitude is so poor towards men, that as they get older and they can't keep in the same line of the guys they used to do, it catches up with them. And a lot of guys just don't like that. So then you end up dealing with men that, in your prime you would never deal with. And then here you go. Possibly a Yahweh ben Yahweh part 2 understudy. I'm not saying he's a criminal, but I mean, the vibe is like really bad. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.